hands up, come on, put your hands up, are you ready?
The now 3-0 Carolina Panthers take care of business against the Houston Texans who fall 2-1 on Thursday Night Football. What a game, what an offense, what a performance by Sam Darnold. Most amazingly, what a defense that Charlotte has for the 2021 season. Panthers fans, you guys have something to look forward to this year. We'll welcome you guys into a new episode of Time2Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call, you guessed it, Time2Football. Glad you guys are joining us for this Friday morning. Hey, whether you're joining us from the East Coast all the way to the Pacific Coast, you're waking up for work, just getting ready for that, or you're already at work, just tuning in, listen to us on the side. We're very, very appreciative that you guys are joining us for this episode. Yeah, that Thursday night game, amazing. DJ Moore was a very, very great surprise. I think the knock against DJ Moore all season long, for the last couple of years, actually, for his whole career, was that he's not going to get a lot of touchdowns. He only gets 3 or 4 touchdowns a season. But, I mean, it's proven that Sam Darnold wants to target him a lot more, having a couple touchdowns last week. And the first 10 pass attempts of Sam Darnold, 7 of them were targets towards DJ Moore. In the long run, though, that hurts the value of Robbie Anderson, which we're going to talk about him later on in this episode. But I think that Sam Darnold, DJ Moore have this nice connection going on, and they're going to have to really rely on that with the brand new injury that's happening with Christian McCaffrey. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be missing a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I know it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I can go ahead and tell you that running backs in the NFL, whenever they suffer a hamstring injury, they're going to be placed on short-term IR. So Chuba Hubbard is going to be the next man up for the Carolina Panthers. You guys are chatting with us in the chat, so we're going to go ahead and just let you guys know that this is interactive and just kind of interact with you guys in the process. So James Stark says, hello all. What's up, James? How you doing? Okay, Corey, getting right to it for the fantasy football questions. We're going to have a segment dedicated later on where I'm just going to answer more questions. But, hey, since you kind of beat everybody to it, I'll go ahead and answer your question. Corey's asking, should I start Tannehill or Carr as my quarterback full PPR? Man, I'm going Tannehill. Tannehill is one of my must-starts. There's better days ahead for Ryan Tannehill in fantasy football. He's not a bad quarterback. He was a 40-yard touchdown. Like, A.J. Brown dropped a pass, which would have been like a 40, 45-yard touchdown, right on the money. Then he would have done amazing in fantasy football. But because of that, 14.5 fantasy points is all we show for it, when it could have been 21, 22 fantasy points, however much it was. So I would keep your trust in Ryan Tannehill. Know that he is capable of putting up good performances, and he's going to be doing that against the Indianapolis Colts. But you're also asking Bridgewater over Tannehill this week. This is from Rob Navarro. Rob, I got to tell you, man, Tannehill, just same case with Tannehill. Stick to your guns. Bridgewater's good, and he's a nice surprise. Has a good offense, but good matchup coming up for Bridgewater. But I don't know. I think the Broncos are going to be up ahead a lot, and that might limit the passing potential for Bridgewater. Continue to ask your questions, everyone, and I'll get to you guys in a little bit. Man, it's Friday. Glad the weekend is here. Very glad. What are your weekend plans, by the way? Go ahead and comment below and let us know your weekend plans. I'm actually going to a Skillet concert. They're coming here in Atlanta to the Tabernacle, so that'll be lots of fun to see for you guys that are fans of rock music. But let's go ahead and get into our show with the NFL news and notes that's going around the league. And the biggest news, obviously, we mentioned the injury to Christian McCaffrey. We just want to touch base on that. McCaffrey is going to be out for what we expect to be to be at least 3 to 4 weeks or so. And this is because running backs deal with that. Golly. You know when you have to, like, hold in a cough? Like, you're coughing a lot. Gosh. And you're trying to hold back because you don't want anybody else to realize that you're coughing a lot. It's the worst when you're in school. When you're in a quiet classroom, you just go like, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. Like, it's okay. You can go to the water fountain. It's fine. Why are we trying to hide that we're not coughing? Yeah, that's what I'm feeling right now. Golly. Okay, I'm better now. Okay, Christian McCaffrey. So hamstring injury. Big news. Chuba Hubbard comes in, looks great, and they're probably going to lean on him and Royce Freeman moving forward until Christian McCaffrey were to get healthy. But I think the biggest thing, though, is McCaffrey has only played in 3 games last year. So far, he's only played in 2 games, so this is a big blow for the Panthers offense for Christian McCaffrey, and it hurts. It really does. But McCaffrey, we don't expect anything longer than maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks or so. I mean, that's really pushing it at that point. So just rest on it a bit, then he'll be fine. We expect him to return this season. Some other injury news that we have going on. Joey Bosa, his foot and ankle injury, did not practice. That's bad news for the Chargers. James Crowder did not practice at all. The 49ers running backs, we are keeping track with them and following the news that's going on with the 49ers running backs, but it's looking like that Trey Sermon might be the only one of the top 3 running backs that might be available. JaMychal Hasty, we know, has a high ankle sprain. He's not going to be coming into this game against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. He suffered that high ankle sprain last week. It's been held out of practice. He's going to miss about a couple of weeks. Whereas Elijah Mitchell, he's a game-time decision. So it's a Sunday night game. I mean, for you guys that play fantasy football, you're probably like, I don't know if I should wait till Sunday night to keep him in my lineup. Should I just go ahead and start someone that plays at 1 o'clock? Go ahead and start someone that plays at 1 o'clock if it comes down to it. If he's a game-time decision, I don't want to wait for that. Unless there's someone that I can put in as like a solid replacement for like a Sunday or Monday night football game. No, just stick to your Monday Night Football or your Sunday players. Deante Johnson, we've been following this all week, still not practicing. Suffered a knee injury against the Las Vegas Raiders in the second-to-last play, and it ended up not really mattering at that point, which is unfortunate. So he's going to be missing some time. We expect him to miss this game. Monitor his status for Friday. If he's limited here today, could play. I don't expect it to happen. Lamar Jackson did not practice due to an illness, but we do expect him to play, so don't worry about that. Odell Beckham is expected to play and make his debut for the Cleveland Browns here in 2021. I think that Jarvis Landry is going to be out for some time. Odell practiced in full yesterday, so we expect him to play, but we don't know if he's going to be on a snap counter or anything of that matter. T. Higgins, shoulder, misses practice. 2nd consecutive day, looking like he's not going to be playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dalvin Cook, not practicing, but the Vikings are not concerned about Dalvin Cook. This is what I'm hearing. So they're expecting Dalvin Cook to play. Not practicing, just taking precautionary measures. So we'll see what happens with Dalvin Cook. Josh Jacobs in a non-contact jersey, just like Trey Sermon was in a non-contact jersey. So Jacobs is practicing. This is good news. They're probably just getting him warmed up, ready for the game this Sunday against Miami Dolphins. More than likely, probably would play. Carson Wentz still not practicing with his ankles injury, so Jacob Eason is in line to start. Marquise Brown, ankle injury as well, not practicing, but he should play. He should play. DeAndre Hopkins, this actually came out of nowhere. He has a ribs injury. He appeared on the injury report for the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. He wasn't practicing. So Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk would be the next 2 men up. Don't forget about A.J. Green as well. Darrell Henderson, ribs injury, still not practicing. Sony Michel would be the next man up. Amari Cooper, he was limited in practice, has a ribs injury as well. But he seems like, being limited, more than likely, monitor his progress for Friday. Hopefully he can play. And they have a late game as well, Monday Night Football. So, more than likely he's probably going to play. And then Jason Pierre-Paul has been advised and unlikely to play. He's been advised to just sit, rest, take care this Sunday. Don't play the Rams. Work on that shoulder. Get it healed up. And that is your NFL news and notes for today. You guys are still popping into the chats. Listen, Miguel, good morning to the exclamation mark Time2Football community. How you doing, man? Glad to be a part of that community. So let's go ahead and get into the content for this week. Every Friday, we call it Fantasy Friday because what we talk about are a couple of partners that we have for this show. PredictionStrike, which is the stock market of the NFL, and PrizePicks, which is you just basically pick the overs or unders on fantasy football projections. And these are two people that I reached out to, two companies I reached out to because I was like, man, these two are great ideas. I really want to work with you guys. I think that my audience, the viewers here at Time2Football, would love the content that we're producing based off of your websites. And I feel like that when I posted about PredictionStrike and that fantasy football starts and sits videos, everybody, a lot of people started signing up for that quick because they love the idea. It's just a stock market, just a stock market. You buy shares on players, and if they do well, if they exceed their fantasy football projection, you make money. And if they don't exceed their fantasy football projection, then their stock price goes down. And then you got to make a decision. Do I want to hold this player, buy this player, sell this player? We're here to help you make those decisions. So today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about 3 players to buy, 3 players to sell, and 1 player to hold via PredictionStrike. Okay, so first, let's get into the players that you should buy. Now, nobody really knows about this guy, a little bit underneath the radar, but this is what the stock market is about. You have to buy the people that nobody knows about. And the first guy is Jacques Patrick. Yeah, I know. It's like, what's this guy's name? How do you pronounce it? Jacques Patrick. Well, here, that's a typo actually in the beginning. It should say $1 a share. Not going for $0. That would be crazy. But he's $1 per share. Change of 0%. Recent change because nobody knows about him. But if he's only going for $1, the analysis on him is he's one of the few backs that will be healthy this Sunday. Top 3 running backs are hurt in Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, and Jermichael Hasty. He had a great preseason with the Bengals. I think it was 31 carries for 159 yards. He was also a standout in the XFL when that was going on. So for $1 a share, I mean, I would go ahead and just take the risk. Well, it's not going to hurt anyone. Jacques Patrick, a guy that you may want to look out for. And especially if you're in fantasy football in deeper leagues, you may want to pick him up just in case until Jeff Wilson were to get healthy, and then you could drop him. But the player to buy number 2, I've been talking about this guy for quite some time just because I'm kind of big on him, and that is Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell is going for $3.42 a share. He's up 5.46%, about 18 cents. But the analysis on him, Eagles are not confident in Miles Sanders as a 3-down back. We've known this since the offseason. The Eagles are going to be continuing to split touches, and Gainwell is receiving more touches. He already beat out Boston Scott for the number 2 spot. And from week 1 to week 2, his touches are increasing. Miles Sanders had 14 touches. Gainwell had 8 touches, and Gainwell was utilized in the 2-point conversion attempt that they had. So I like the fact that he's utilized in those aspects and those scenarios, and he's a 3rd down back, I should say. And I mean, I feel like the kid from Memphis is going to have a shot at one day being the starting running back in Philadelphia. Is it going to happen this season? I don't know, but I don't think that Miles Sanders is bad by any say, but the Eagles just aren't confident in him. So I'm going to buy some shares and Kenneth Gainwell. I actually bought some yesterday. I bought about 6 shares and Kenny Gainwell. The buy player number 3, I think is Jared Goff, just because he exceeds any fantasy football projection that is put in his way. He was projected to put up 15 points in week 1, put up 28 points. Then he was projected to put up 13 points in week 2 against the Green Bay Packers. Hey, he put up, I think it was 18 points that he had this past week. But he's going for $2.83 a share, up 5.43%, just because he's exceeding his projections. The Lions are expected to pass often this season because they're going to be down. So Jared Goff is a player that I would buy. So 3 players to buy: Jacques Patrick, Kenneth Gainwell, and Jared Goff. Now some players that we don't have a lot of optimism on, so I think it's time that you have to get rid of them. I think the sell number 1 is Tyler Lockett. And this isn't me saying that Tyler Lockett is going to be bad this year. He's going to have great games this season, like he's been having the last couple of games. But the thing with him is, number 1, he's expensive. $7 a share is a little overpriced. He's up 22% just because he's been blowing all of his projections out of the water. But look at the analysis. Lockett historically has been inconsistent. He's projected 18.82 fantasy points this week. 3 big games in a row is a rarity for Lockett. For you fantasy owners that actually had Tyler Lockett and you knew about this when he put up that 3 touchdown game against the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday Night Football, and then after that, kind of disappeared. Didn't really do anything. So for you guys that know about that, I would go ahead and sell Tyler Lockett while he's red hot, because this week against the Indianapolis, or not the Indianapolis Colts, the Minnesota Vikings, I don't expect him to have a third game in a row where he just blows everything out of the water. He might have a good game, like 6 receptions, 7 receptions for like 80, 90, 100 yards, sure. But getting over that 18 fantasy point hump, it's kind of hard to do. Pretty much 19 fantasy points, 18.82. Player to sell number 2, I think it's going to have to be DJ Chark. Chark is going for $3.48 a share, and I love Chark. I love the potential that he has. I think he's going to get a lot of targets this year. I do. But the inconsistency with him scares me. And the inconsistency in the stock market is not something that you really want to buy in on unless you expect this player to really go off. And I don't think that he's going to be at that point in this Jaguars offense where he just exceeds every projection that is given to him. I don't. I think it's going to be Marvin Jones that's the number 1 target, as you can see in the analysis, and Chark is inconsistent with the amount of targets that he had. He had 12 targets in week 1, but then after that, kind of took the backseat to Marvin Jones. So DJ Chark is my player to sell number 2. Now the player to sell number 3, we're going 3 straight wide receivers at this point because wide receivers are a little bit inconsistent. And I think the first player that really comes to mind when I talk about wide receivers that are really inconsistent, more than Tyler Lockett, more than DJ Chark, it would be Robbie Anderson. Anderson this year just has taken a little bit of a backseat to DJ Moore. He's going for $3.10 a share, so he's already dropping in price 10%, pretty much 11%. He has a less target share this season. DJ Moore's emergence has capped Anderson's potential. So, with that said, he's not the Sam Darnold, Robbie Anderson connection that we thought he was going to be in Carolina. Only getting 3, 4, 5 targets a game. That's not going to cut it. So while he's dropping in price, this might be the highest of a price that he has this season. So I would go ahead, don't buy the dip, actually sell the dip. So Robbie Anderson, sell number 3. Tyler Lockett, DJ Chark, Robbie Anderson, 3 players you want to sell. Now, one player that you would want to hold in PredictionStrike in the stock market, Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore has a big game, has put up a big stat line this past week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going for $5.22 a share. I actually got a free share of Rondale Moore once someone signed up using my promo code T2F and put in a $20 deposit. So I encourage you guys to do the same. You get a free share on top of that as well. So it was a nice surprise that I got Rondale Moore, but I'm not going to sell him right away just because he's projected 11.4 points this Sunday. I think it's going to exceed that. With DeAndre Hopkins hurt, oh yeah, absolutely. Against the Jaguars with Kyler Murray playing at a high level, Rondale Moore, wide receiver 2, should exceed 11.4. So if you want to make a quick buck, hold on to Rondale Moore, let him exceed his expectations, and if he continues to get those expectations or those projections of 11 fantasy points or so a week, keep holding on to him. But then once he goes up to 16, 17, 18 fantasy points a week, that might be the time you would want to sell him. But for now, I would hold on to Rondale Moore. But that is our buys, sells, and holds for PredictionStrike. Really cool concept that PredictionStrike is. I love it. Let me actually see. To let you guys know that I am actually very invested in PredictionStrike, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this the website real quick. Show you my portfolio. See which players I bought in on. So some players I'm kind of big on. Some players I kind of missed on. Like Gerald Everett right now, he's kind of dropping in price, down 80%. I'm still holding on to him because I still think he's going to have somewhat of a good season. Let me go ahead and put myself in the corner right here so you guys can see. And then Le'Veon Bell, I just bought this in the offseason just because I was like, hey, what the heck? Why not? He was going for 15 cents a share, or 14 when I bought him, up 15 cents. So we'll see. And then I just got some, like I said, Kenny Gainwell. I bought him just yesterday. TJ Hawkinson, this is the big money maker right here. This made me a lot of money right here. I sold some shares of him just yesterday just to make sure that I had some money saved up. But yeah, I have some shares in DeAndre Hopkins. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is I'm invested in this. I really am. It's a really fun game. So I encourage you guys to click the link in the description, PredictionStrike.com, and use the promo code T2F. and sign up and deposit $20, and you will get a free share on top of that as well. Something else that I'm pretty invested in, and that is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is, like I've been saying for the last 3 weeks, you pretty much just pick the overs and unders on fantasy football projections. That's it. There's really nothing else to it. And if you're right, you win money. And if you're wrong, you lose money. Well, I want to go ahead and preface to, bet responsibly. Don't be stupid about it. But PrizePicks, like I said, bet the over, you win money. Pick the under, you lose money. So I'm going to show you players that you want to pick the under on, players you want to pick the over on PrizePicks based off the projections that we have for this week. So let me first start off with the 3 players that I'm going to pick the under on that are just projected way too high on PrizePicks, and I think may not meet those expectations on those projections. So the first player that I want to show you is Patrick Mahomes. 27 fantasy points projected against the LA Chargers. Could happen. I understand. But I take the under on this, and I'm only 65% confident in this just because we know Patrick Mahomes. He can light it up at any time. So my confidence level isn't too big, but I'm still going to take the under on him. I'll still take the risk just because this past season, this whole season actually, he put up 24 points last week against the Ravens in what was a shootout. You'd expect more. And then in week 1, he put up 33 points, but one of them, a rushing touchdown contributed to that. And he's not going to get rushing numbers every week. He's not a rushing quarterback per se. So 27 points is a little too high for Mahomes. So I would go ahead and take the under on that. And that's what you want to do on PrizePicks is look at who is really projected high and then take the under. I've made a lot of money because Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, like those top players, they're projected like 24, 25 PPR fantasy points, which they could hit. But most of the time, like, that's just kind of reaching for the stars. So I just pick like a little bit under. And then when they only get like 18, 19 fantasy points, it's still a pretty good game. But they didn't meet that expectation, so I win. I win some money in that process. Player number 2 that I would take the under on, according to the projections on PrizePicks, it's going to have to be Tyler Lockett. I talked about him when I talked about PredictionStrike, the stock market. You want to sell his share because 19.5 fantasy points is highly unlikely to happen for Tyler Lockett this week against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm 75% confident. So more confident in Tyler Lockett not meeting that expectation because, like I said, 3 games in a row is a rarity. 3 big games in a row for Tyler Lockett to put up the big numbers that he put up. That's hard to do. Yeah, he might have a good game, 14 points, 15 points, but to reach 19.5, kind of hard to do. So player to take the under on number 2 is Tyler Lockett. Player to take the under on at number 3. We're going to go over to the Cleveland Browns and transition and talk about them for a second. It's Baker Mayfield. We expect the Browns to run with the ball a lot. I would not be surprised if they run with the ball 30 times between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, maybe even 35 times in this game. And even though it might be a somewhat decent matchup against the Chicago Bears secondary, don't overlook Jalen Johnson because he has a high Pro Football Focus coverage grade and is actually kind of good in the secondary. 19 fantasy points is the projection for Baker Mayfield. I would take the under on that. They just don't pass it a lot. Kevin Stefanski is going to do what continues to get the Cleveland Browns winning games, and that is running the football. And with Jarvis Landry out, I don't expect Mayfield to have a pretty big game. Now, I'm 70% confident in that, just a little less confident, but I'm still going to take the under on him on PrizePicks. Now let's talk about some players that we want to take the over on. And we're going to continue the string of Cleveland Browns players right here because Austin Hooper is in line to get a big amount of target share this week. I talked about him in our fantasy football starts and sits video, how he's the sleeper of the week. 8.5 fantasy points. I think he's going to beat that. This is PPR, by the way. So with Jarvis Landry out, he had 5 targets last week. So if he makes 5 receptions for 35, 36 yards, he's already meeting his expectations and exceeding those expectations. So I would take the over on that. Now I'm 65% confident just because the tight end position is just so hard to predict. It's so inconsistent. But I think Austin Hooper is going to be the target number 2 after Odell Beckham for Baker Mayfield. Maybe target 3 after Kareem Hunt. But I'm going to get to Kareem Hunt actually right now. Let's talk about him. The player to take the over on Number 2 is Kareem Hunt. Now, where's he at? Where's Kareem Hunt at? All right, there we go. You can also choose the overs on stat projections. So 2 receptions is what he's projected on PrizePicks. Do you think he's going to get more than 2 receptions in this game? I do. With Jarvis Landry out, he's going to be one of the main targets for Mayfield, like I said. So 2 receptions, you want to take the over on that. That's nothing for Kareem Hunt. I'm 85% confident that Kareem Hunt will get over 2 receptions in this game against the Chicago Bears. 2 receptions, really not much at all. Now, if he gets exactly 2 receptions, then it just cancels out. It's a tie. You don't win or lose money at that point. But I think he's going to get 3 or more. So you guys can win some money. So while it's still up, go to PrizePicks and take the over on that. Now, another player, last player you want to take the over on, Matt Ryan. So like I said, stat projections, they have that. 1.5 passing touchdowns against the New York Giants. I'm going to take that. I think he's going to pass for more than 1 touchdown against the New York Giants. And I'm 85% confident, just like how confident I am in Kareem Hunt getting over 2 receptions, 85% confident that Matt Ryan gets over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So those are your players to take the overs and unders on PrizePicks. To kind of show you guys that I am heavily invested in PrizePicks as well, I'm going to show you the website right here. If I transition over here to PrizePicks, and I'm going to show you that I'm going to actually take these overs and unders live on air to let you guys know that I'm not BSing with you guys, and I'm going to actually put some money on the line and do it. So what we talked about some fantasy scores, and we talked about some overs and unders for stat projections. So let's show receptions first, because Kareem Hunt, 2 receptions right here. You want to take the over on that, okay? And then let's go to passing touchdowns, and let's click on Matt Ryan, okay? Over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Who else did I talk about? Fantasy score. You can actually make different predictions. You can have 2, 3, 4 players in like one little prediction. And based off of how many players you have, the more they hit, the more money you make. So I'm going to go ahead and just max out, because you're going to have 5 max. So some other players I talked about Austin Hooper. Yeah, I talked about Patrick Mahomes, Tyler Lockett. Let me go ahead and pull up Tyler Lockett if I can find him real quick. There he is. Tyler Lockett, I'm going to take the under on him because I'm pretty confident on that. Let me go ahead and take the under on Patrick Mahomes. Even though it is a shootout, like I said, 27 fantasy points. It's kind of hard to do for anyone at that point. So let me take the under on that. So we've got Kareem Hunt, Matt Ryan, over, Lockett, under. Patrick Mahomes is the under. And then let's see, who else did we have at this point? I know that we had Austin Hooper. I can only choose 5, so it's between Austin Hooper and Baker Mayfield. Since I was only 65% confident in Austin Hooper, let me go ahead and just go with Baker Mayfield at that point. The fantasy score, 19 fantasy points for him, so I'm going to go ahead and take the under on him. And listen, look, if I hit all 5 and I put in $20, I can win $200. So let me go ahead and put in, to try to win $100, let me go ahead and just put in $10. And if I lose $10, whatever, it's fine. But if I only get 1 wrong, then I can still win $20. If I get 3 right, I only get $4 of those $10 back, but still, it's worth it. So I went ahead and placed the entry on there, and let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens. If I'm right or wrong, we'll just see and wait till next week. So PrizePicks, click the link in the description. Use the promo code T2F. Sign up. They match your deposit. It is really, really fun. Take the overs and unders on these players. Now, to everybody's favorite part of the show, we've got viewer questions. So let's go ahead and show you guys, or talk about some viewer questions that we have on this show. What you guys have been commenting. All right, so I talked about CMC good to pick up now for later use. Did someone drop CMC? Dude, if someone dropped McCaffrey, and you have an IR spot, pick up Christian McCaffrey if someone dropped him. Pick him up. Please. If you need to sacrifice a bench spot for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, sure, do it. Well worth it. That's by Deej. Thanks for tuning in again. What else do we've got? I've got one question. Start 2 PPR. This is from James Stark. Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen, Courtland Sutton, or Corey Davis. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen and Courtland Sutton. I like A-Rob, but with Justin Fields, I just don't know how that's going to work just yet. I like Corey Davis as a player, but the Jets offense is a little bit in shambles, so Thielen and Sutton would be my 2. We've already met our 30-minute quota. Whatever. Let's just keep going. Go ahead and answer more questions. Emerald Eyes 7 Zemi says, Hot Lockett. Yeah. I like that. What else do we got? New Life. Hello from Mexico. Oh, okay. So we got Puerto Rico. We got Germany. We got Mexico. There's someone from Hawaii. I know that's still in the States, but still. I feel like there's another international person that was tuning in. There's a guy from Sweden that tunes in as well. How you doing? Yo soy fiesta. Comment if you know where that phrase is from. Hello from Mexico. Javonte Williams or James Robinson, half PPR. Thank you. Javonte Williams. James Robinson's on my bench until further notice. I have James Robinson. Guys, I've been saying this on the show for the last 3 weeks. I'm still split. I don't know whether to trade. I have James Robinson. I got offered Myles Gaskin and Mark Andrews, and I need a tight end. I'm streaming Austin Hooper this week. I need a tight end. Should I take it? Give up James Robinson for Myles Gaskin and Mark Andrews. I want to, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, we'll see. I got to make that decision before Sunday. Henry, hey, hi from Panama. You tuned in yesterday as well. How you doing, man? Start Kittle or Pitts. This is from Gabriel Jimenez. It's got to be Kittle. Kittle's going to have a bounce-back week against the Green Bay Packers. I think that target share is going to go from Deebo Samuel all to Deebo Samuel. George Kittle to it's kind of evening out. And Brandon Ayuk is just, I don't know what's up with Ayuk. Ayuk is just doing Ayuk things. What else do we've got? Austria, also in the house. Gabriel. What up, dude? Austria. Homa Arnold. He's from Austria, right? Okay, Henry, you asked. Thanks for Brandon Cooks. Yeah, he did amazing. Do you start Fields at quarterback? He wouldn't be my first choice, but I'm okay with starting him. He's just not my first choice just because I don't know how he's going to be playing. I really don't. So against the Cleveland Browns, sure, but I mean, I would take someone like a Tannehill over Justin Fields this week. Jalen Hurts over Justin Fields. Dak Prescott over Justin Fields. Like, there's other quarterbacks I would choose. Stafford over Fields. But if you're desperate at quarterback, yeah, I would start Fields. I would even take Daniel Jones over Justin Fields this week if you guys are in the streaming game. What else do we've got? CHB, you've been commenting. You've been a loyal viewer for a long time. Start 1, A.J. Brown or Thielen. Hamstring of A.J. Brown. I know Thielen is due for a decline this year, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen eventually. But I think against the Seahawks, which is going to be a pass-heavy game, you got to go with Thielen. And with the Titans offense, that's just kind of hit or miss with like passing, running. What's our identity, and the hamstring issues of the lingering issues that A.J. Brown has been having. I would go with Thielen in that instance. What else do we got? Omar, hello from South America, Peru. Let's go. I love these international people. I love it. Love your show and your YouTube channel. Hey, dude, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the support that you've been given. Sarkatis, you also tune in every time. A.J. Brown or Amari Cooper then? Well, all right. So the ribs injury with Amari Cooper, he's limited in practice. You know, if he says that, okay, he's a game-time decision for Amari Cooper, it's a Monday night game. So if he ends up not playing, you're kind of in a bad spot. So you may want to put in A.J. Brown. I expect Amari Cooper to play. I really do. But really pay attention Sunday morning if there's any word on whether Cooper is going to be playing or not. And if he's not going to be playing, start A.J. Brown. If he is going to play Amari Cooper. That's what I would do in this high-scoring affair. Let's see. Joseph Wynn. Hey, T2F. How you doing, man? That's my name. Those are my initials. Thomas to F word. That's my name. And everyone in the chat, who would you start between Javonte, Mitchell, and Pollard? Javonte. Pollard still in a running back by committee. I think that might be, as far as him being in a committee is concerned with Ezekiel Elliott, this past week against the Chargers is the best outcome that he is ever going to have. Best game that he's going to have as long as he's in the committee. So just hold off on Pollard for now. But start Javonte Williams. Even though he's in a committee, he has a pretty good matchup, and he's getting more and more touches than Melvin Gordon. So I would go ahead and start Javonte Williams. And it's Mitchell is just, he's banged up. So I'd avoid that. Plus, it's Sunday night. You don't know if he's going to be playing or not. Leon Armstead, Tyson or Gaskin PPR? It's got to be Tyson. Tyson is going to eat against the Detroit Lions. One of the worst run defenses in the last 2 years. The Detroit Lions has not even 4 touchdown game to Aaron Jones. That's all that needs to be said. Tyson Williams is a start this week. Let's take a couple more. Hollywood Brown or Devonta Smith, half PPR. I think Brown, he is hurt. I don't know if he's going to be playing. They expect him to play. But I would start Devonta Smith, actually. He's had at least 7 targets in every game this week. And I know that Brown is going off for Lamar Jackson, but I expect this Eagles-Cowboys game to be back and forth, so they're probably going to pass it throughout all 4 quarters. Whereas the Ravens and the Lions, the Ravens might be up by big, and they might just abandon their passing game and go with Tyson in the run game. So I would choose Devonta Smith. Let's go ahead and choose one more. Let's choose 2 more. I'll go ahead and answer this. Sarkatis, my CMC first-round pick is gone. Now what? Is Chuba Hubbard available? You got to get Chuba Hubbard. You really do, if he's still available. Now, if you had McCaffrey, you should have drafted Hubbard with the 16th round pick. But if you didn't, it's okay. Go to get him off the waivers. If he's not available on the waivers, man, you got to make some trades. You got to sacrifice in one area. The biggest area I would sacrifice is if you had like a TJ Hawkinson, a Darren Waller. I know it sucks to lose those kind of tight ends, but tight ends is the most inconsistent position. So I would trade for a quality running back if that were the case to someone with depth. Sucks to lose that tight end position, but I would rather take a hit at tight end or receiver than take a hit at running back. Let's go ahead. Oh, you have Najee as backup. Well, man, you fine, dude. You got Najee. You're good. You're good, man. Let's go ahead and take one more. Then I got to have to sign off. Okay, CHB, thank you greatly. Appreciate it. Love the show. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Let's see. Ice Cold Jones, you've been a follower for some time. I haven't seen your your name for gosh dang, man, those cops are back. I haven't seen your comment in a long time. Sony Michel or Tim Patrick? I would start Michel if Darrell Henderson can't go. If Darrell Henderson goes, start Tim Patrick. But if not, I would start Sony Michel. What am I trying to say? Okay, yeah, that's the end of our show. Random thought came to my head. Did you guys hear the quote of Urban Meyer saying that it's like playing Alabama every week? When he talked about the NFL, it was like a intimate conversation with Vic Fangio on the field, but he was mic'd up. And he said, yeah, NFL is tough. It's like playing Alabama every week. So it's a little down-to-earth moment for Urban Meyer, knowing that it's not college football. But hey, tradition. The tradition of college football. Love it. It's better than the NFL. Much better. Because it's tradition. We appreciate you guys joining in for this episode of Time2Football. Hey, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And go ahead and like this video. Share it with everyone if you want. I'm going to go ahead and split up the segments. So the PredictionStrike and the PrizePicks and everything, I'm going to split those segments up, put it up as their own separate videos. So if you want to go back, watch the overs and unders for PrizePicks. If you want to see which players to buy, to sell for PredictionStrike, go ahead and go back and watch those. But sign up as well because it's lots of fun. So much fun. You can make lots of money with PredictionStrike and PrizePicks. Links are in the description. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Enjoy the weekend with all those games. And remember, tradition!